Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Market Snapshot series. My name is Rufas Kamau, Markets Analyst at FXPesa. So today we are going to be having an interesting session where we look at what's currently happening in the markets, what happened yesterday, and what we're expecting for the rest of the day. So feel welcome. Once you join in, kindly say hi on the live comment section, and these will confirm that everything is working just fine. So hello, Jack and Max. Thank you for joining the session. So today is a very interesting day. It's the 8th of August. So we have a double 8 on our calendar, and hopefully it will be good luck for every trader out there. So let's get things started. I will be starting by checking out the economic calendar, see what we are expecting for the day. And now once we go through this, then we look at key technical price action levels. So yesterday was largely a quiet day, starting with a bank holiday in Australia and a bank holiday in Canada. We didn't have major news happening in the markets. And of course, a key highlight is the unemployment rate in Switzerland, which slightly went up to 2.1% from a previous reading of 2.0%. So today, we have had quite a number of data. We saw data coming in from Japan, and this was quite a host of data. So average cash earnings year over year, this is the change in wages on average in the Japanese economy, was up 2.3%. Then household spending was down negative 4.2%. Remember, the Bank of Japan is looking to stimulate household spending, so this is not looking good. Then bank lending, 2.9%, which was lower than the previous reading, and of course lower than the projected number. And then the current account basically showed an improvement, meaning that Japan has more exports than imports, and that number is improving compared to the previous reading of 1.7 trillion. So going forward for the rest of the day, I think we'll be looking at quite a number of things. The most noticeable one is at 3:15 p.m., where we'll be looking at a speech from FOMC member Haka. There's also the NFIB Small Business Index in the US at 1 p.m. Then later on, we'll be looking at trade balance for both Canada and the US. So we don't have any major news that are expected to cause too much volatility in the market, which means that technical analysis may reign supreme for the day. So tomorrow, we'll be looking at the CPI from China at 4:30 a.m. And of course, as we all know, the most anticipated news for the week will be the consumer price index or inflation data for the US happening on Thursday at 3:30 p.m. So besides the economic calendar, there's other news happening in the markets. For instance, in the crypto sector, we have two things. One, there's allegations that Huobi, a major cryptocurrency exchange, is bankrupt. There's a lot of arguments currently going around, especially Reddit and Twitter, where Huobi is being accused of using clients' funds. And if there is any significant withdrawal happening from that exchange, there's that risk that the exchange could collapse either within the day or even within the week. So you can read more on the story here, and I'll be sharing the link on the comment section. So when you have some time to go through it, then you will be able to understand what's currently happening. So German inflation is raised to 6.5%. This is quite some positive news for Germany, especially considering that we've been seeing a sequence of negative news for Germany, which has been drawing the euro backwards. So with inflation easing to 6.5% in July, this is quite big news, and we'll be expecting more updates as we continue with the day. So most potent news for the day was released last night, and this is where Moody's, which is a credit rating agency, downgraded 10 US banks and warned that there is more banks they're investigating, and they could also downgrade them once they have the results. So a downgrade of a bank, which is basically a credit rating, basically implies that there is more risk to that bank. And of course, we understand one of the major reasons this is happening is because of the commercial real estate. Commercial real estate is not doing well, and the rates at which people are defaulting are increasing. And the other reason is because bond yields are rising while bond prices are going down, And the banks that have been holding long-term treasuries in the US, especially the ones that bought just before COVID or around COVID, 2020, 2021, then they are holding on to massive losses in their books. And this is becoming quite concerning for investors. So we could be seeing some increased volatility happening in US banking sector. So besides these, there's also more news. We have the issue of the performance of the market today so far. I think the biggest movers in the market so far is Bitcoin, which is up 0.93%. The pound euro is up 0.03%. The FTSE 250 is basically trading sideways, and gold is down 0.15%. The FTSE down 0.19%. Pound USD negative 0.27%, with the biggest loser being Brent crude oil, which is down 0.84%. So it's a key highlight that can help you guide your day. If you want to read more, I can share the link too. So there is the link. So lastly, we have the issue of Palantir. Palantir posted better than expected earnings. So it's one of the top companies that are leading in the AI revolution, and it's bound to benefit even more from what's currently being developed in the AI space. So it has been a spearheading company in terms of developing AI programs. And these AI programs are in two sectors. On one side, it has a product that it rents to US government departments, including intelligence, immigration, defense, and those contracts are worth quite a good amount. And at the same time, it rolled on a new product early this year, where it's basically selling data analytics AI solution to private businesses, and so far the company is doing really well. So after turning a profit early in the year, late last year, the company has been doing quite well. So if you look at the year-to-date performance, it's up 181%. And of course, after the announcement of earnings yesterday, there was a big spike before the market raised gains. And hopefully, we'll be seeing the market opening slightly higher, 1.17%. And if you look at the earnings and how the company performed, you can see that the year-over-year change for revenue was 17.66%. And of course, the net income was up 116.57% compared to the same period last year. So it's one of the companies that could be having some form of volatility happening today as we go forward with the day. So besides those key highlights, I think it's time we now start looking at charts and look at the major ones. So the most volatile assets among the assets that we normally focus on is Brent crude oil, which is continuing the sell-off that happened yesterday. So in this case, we are seeing quite a strong momentum downwards. And this basically presents a trading opportunity to enjoy as the market continues in that direction. So I'm trying to remove everything that was on my chart previously. We do a 4-hour chart. And from this, you can see the market is making a big sell-off, but we have to be aware that there is a trend line that has been supporting this market or has been acting as support. So I'll try and extend it so everyone can see. So this is potentially what we are looking at. So on the very short run, I would say this particular trend line may be acting as support if the market gets to that area. And of course, the other support is last week's low. So last week's low can be mapped around this area here. And now if you go to a smaller time frame, the H1 chart, you can see that we still have some more space where Brent oil could continue losing and potentially get to $83.51 per barrel. And if it breaks that, then there's that potential that it could break this area and continue going down and eventually get to 82.251. So you have to be very observant of this chart. Perhaps there will be some nice opportunities to squeeze in some positions today. So besides that, we also have gold prices finding some very interesting support. And this support seems to be flatlined at around 1930 price level. So for the last 3 days, gold has been attempting to break this area here. Did this on Thursday and as well as on Friday. Then on Monday, attempted to bounce off the same place. And today it's testing the same area again. So one key thing to notice is that we have been expecting this rally to happen in gold, but somehow it's not happening. So as a result of that, we don't stick with the original thesis. And now we start considering the potential for a break, because clearly this market is trading inside a triangle. So as you get more and more data points, it's very nice when you use these data points to make your own independent analysis. And for me, I think this is what is happening with gold. So it's forming significantly lower highs, whereas the lows are almost equal, say for the big volatility spike that happened on Friday. And now it seems there is a potential that gold may eventually break below the 1930 price level. So there is a good chance we will be seeing gold breaking this area and heading further downwards before bouncing and starting to make way towards the upper trend line. So for now, this kind of price action is indicating a strong potential for a break. So I'm not saying that you go outright and short gold. I'm saying you observe the price level around 1930. And if the price level basically breaks below 1930, then that would be a signal that we are headed much lower. So as for now, the thesis is the same. Market bounces from here, gets back to the upper trend line, and then back down, and it can keep trading within the yellow area. But then if there's a significant break, then we definitely identify a trading opportunity. So as for the dollar index, we know there was a strong rally from the end of the day on Friday. Then yesterday, before it erased some gains towards the evening. Then today opened with a strong momentum upwards, and it seems to be continuing higher. So as long as we see this potential that the dollar keeps on strengthening, then it basically implies that we look for short selling positions, especially on the majors. So for pound USD, you can see what has been happening in this chart. So I remember drawing this trend line here, and clearly you can see that the market is going for a break. And if we happen to see this break confirmed, that is at the top of the hour, if the market closes lower, then that would be a signal that the market has been unable to get to the upper trend line, and now we will be operating with a formation that we normally describe as a double top formation. So a double top is where the market basically forms this. So it's unable to break the same level. So in this case, you anticipate that the market will complete the pattern, and completing the pattern basically means going back towards the neckline here. So potentially dropping to 1.27, 117 with a strong dollar. So it's the same thing for Euro USD. The market found resistance here, pull back downwards. My analysis was expecting the price to go straight up towards the previous low. However, yesterday in the evening, market did not continue, pull back up, and now you can see the strong rejection of that particular trend line. And this basically implies that we could be seeing some lower prices happening in the Euro USD pair, especially after the formation of the shooting star, the evening star here, basically all indicating a rejection of higher price, a strong entry by sellers, so potentially lower prices for the rest of the day. So as for USD JPY, we are almost completing this pattern. So I remember making this analysis and saying that this seems like one of the most potent pairs where we expect the Japanese yen to continue losing to the dollar. And this is as a result of the Bank of Japan bond buying program. So there are rumors that it's continuing with the bond buying program today. And this basically implies some further weakness for the Japanese yen. So for now, you can see the rally that happened yesterday. Today it's continuing. We have not yet hit the target of 143.536. And of course, there's a new area here just above it. And this was acting as the resistance. So potentially, we could be seeing the price going straight up for 143.878. And once we break that level, then we head even higher towards the 145.01 target, which was the previous high here. So there is a good chance we will be seeing very strong dollar making a new high for the Japanese yen. And this will take some time. So I'll be observing this price action to see whether there is a entry of buyers, and then we continue along that direction. So as for USD CAD, this is what we had from the 4-hour chart, market facing a very strong resistance along this area here. So after getting to that resistance, you can see the number of times the market was unable to break. Eventually this morning, we have had a break. So the strong dollar is forcing a very strong momentum upwards. And in this case, for USD CAD, I expect this particular momentum to continue along that line. So as for AUD-USD, this is what we are seeing from the 1-hour chart. So remember when we did this analysis and we identified this as the support, then the market eventually broke and dropped all the way down to our target, which was the previous low. So for now, if you did not participate in the trade, this is not the right time to enter. So the idea right now is to be patient and wait till you see what the price will be telling you. So in this case, if there's a break, then we keep trading downwards. And of course, with a strong dollar, if you look at the 4-hour chart, then it's completely indicative of further downside momentum. So there is a good chance we could be seeing 0.64922, which was the previous low here. And of course, the ultimate low here is around 0.64626, and we could be seeing the price going for these two levels. However, there is a big challenge here because this was a major support level. So we might have to wait until we see evidence of a break. If there's no break, then the market may bounce from here and go back upwards. So as for US equity indices, we had one of the biggest sell-offs happening last week and being confirmed on Friday. Then this week, you can see on Monday, the market going up and then back down and then up and then back down. So what is appearing as a key theme in this market is that there is a strong support along this area. I want to delete these arrows so that the support is clear. So this is the area I'm talking about. This particular low here has been tested 3 days in 3 consecutive times. And in each time, the market has bounced strongly. But then the bounce, even though strong, is not lasting for a long time. So what we are seeing here is a market that is basically forming some form of triangle. And in this triangle, the lower trend line is pretty much flat. So nothing is happening here. Okay, we can use this. Just a moment. So these are major support for the NASDAQ. So market makes a sharp drop and then up and then a drop and then up, down, up, down. And now clearly you can see that the overall expectation is now after testing the upper trend line, now the market is headed towards the lower trend line. So the overall expectation is that the NASDAQ keeps on weakening towards this area here. So there is a good chance we'll be seeing this happening here. But then the most important of trading opportunity here would be if the NASDAQ actually broke this support. So the support level was acting as the resistance here and also in this area. So that may explain why the market is struggling to break the 15,250. But then if we happen to break this, then it's a free flow all the way down to 14,934, which was a previous bottom here. So we just have to be patient and see what happens. So for now, maybe if you are an intraday trader trading the NASDAQ, then this is a nice target. So for USD, you can see it was pretty much the strongest. The market is seemingly forming lower highs, but there is quite some good volatility. I think it was one of the most volatile assets yesterday, making an impressive rally, but then it was unable to break the previous high, which may imply that the market is now headed back downwards. So you just have to be quite observant of what happens along that area. And of course, you can see a new channel is emerging and the market is going up and down, up and down, up and down. And now you have multiple reference points, basically indicating that this was a major resistance and the market could be headed back towards the lower trend line. So for the S&P 500, it was a big sell-off last week. And then this week, you can see yesterday, there was a big rally. But then after the big rally, eventually the market changed direction. And now you can see a new trend line is developing here. The market faced resistance here and here. And now after hitting this area yesterday, you can see the market is attempting to go back downwards, and now we may be expecting to see this price level being retested again. The Nasdaq, the S&P 500 could be headed back downwards. So we have already checked the UK oil. So the French 40 index is struggling to make a comeback after the big sell-off that happened last week. So after the big sell-off, you can see there's just too much noise here. I wouldn't say there's a clear signal. And of course, for the Euro 50, this is a clean channel. So it's more or less like a sideways momentum. So trading the break would be more important than trading in between. So if the market breaks lower, we go lower. If it breaks higher, we go higher. But for now, it's a sideways market. So Bitcoin made a very sharp drop yesterday, followed by an impressive recovery. So it seems like anytime there's the market approaching this zone, there's some form of demand coming in the markets, and this is serving us well. So anytime the market drops to this area, there seems to be nice buying opportunities. It has happened 3, 4, 5 times now. So you just have to be observant about that. So besides that, I don't think if there's any major market we have missed. Yes, our favorite pair has been pound yen. So I'll be checking on that. I know some of you are burning to check it out. So pound yen basically made this pullback here. So I'll remove all this. And now you can see the market is almost completing the cup, and perhaps you'll be seeing a handle. So the top is right here. So the market has not completed the U-turn. So in this case, this morning we are seeing some form of pullback, but the overall thesis is that the pound continues gaining against the Japanese yen, and this could be continuing for the day. So maybe perhaps this is a retest of the area. So notice that here there was a major resistance level. So after the market broke this area, perhaps you could be seeing this retest happening, but then the overall momentum continues upwards, where the pound is expected to continue strengthening against the yen. And from the daily chart, you can see it's an upwards momentum. Those are 3 straight days the market going up. Before it went down 3 straight days, where the momentum was lower. And now this is the second day of green. So potentially we could be seeing the price moving higher and retesting this previous high. This is yesterday's high, last week's high, 183.23. Of course, we have this other target high up here at 184. So now I'll be checking to see the questions and comments that you may have raised, and then respond to them right away. Awesome. Hello, Matilda, Dennis, Ken, and Kevin, as well as Peter. What happened to your Telegram group is inaccessible. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's your account, but the Telegram group is just fine. Hi, Maurice. I can see Kafue, Isaac, and Enoch. What is your view on copy trading, and can you recommend a good software for copying trades? I've always been an advocate of not copy trading, but generating your own trading signal. So it's always a good long-term investment when you can do your own market analysis and identify a trading opportunity for yourself. The moment you decide to copy any other person's trade, you are exposing yourself to what you call counterparty risk. And if that person is sick, they are not in the right mental framework, and if they decide to play you, then it can have very bad consequences. So I always advise that you gain the skill and apply the trading yourself. Hi, Joe and Danvers. So I saw that PayPal launched a stablecoin back to the dollar. Yes, they did that. It's built on top of Ethereum. Perhaps that could brew some volatility in the markets. I don't know what might happen with that. But yes, it's true. PayPal is going for a stablecoin. Hi, Humphrey, James, can see Max. There's a request on Euro AUD. Long-term trend for Pound USD, personally, I think it's going to be very bullish, since I expect the Bank of England to be more aggressive with rate hikes compared to the Fed. So in that case, the current trade favors a bullish momentum for Pound USD. So analyze DXY and relate this to US Treasuries and gold. Notice that the US Treasuries were strong last week. They're also strong this week. DXY appears to be facing bullish exhaustion and gold approaching a 2022 trend line on base case. So yes, the gold has been going down, and of course the dollar index has been making an impressive recovery. Main reason this is happening is because of the speculation about the Fed continuing to hike interest rates. So if the Fed keeps on hiking interest rates, this is completely bullish for the dollar. So one of the ways to identify this is using the Fed Watch tool, which basically considers the Fed futures as an indicator of what the Fed might do. So from this, I don't know whether the chart is loading. I'll try and share. There's a very small chance that the Fed may go for an interest rate hike, and these chances are 14.5%. So a lot of bets are on the potential for the US holding interest rates level at between 5.25% and 5.50%. So main reason we are seeing the dollar continuously being strong is because even though there's no rate hike, on the other hand, there's no rate cut. And this interest rates is very interesting for very many investors, mainly because bonds are yielding around 5%. That is considered as a free, risk-free return, even though there is a risk. But in comparison to other asset classes, major investment bankers consider this as a very safe investment. So as a result of that, the debate in the short run, so people will not be going for 10, 20, 30-year bonds, mainly because they are bleeding, but then they are going for the short term. So the 90-day treasuries, the 1-year treasuries take advantage of these high interest rates. So that is what is driving the dollar scarcity, because when all these institutions are buying the bonds, they're basically giving this money to treasury, and they're left with pieces of paper. So in this case, it's driving the dollar out of circulation. So as a result of that, that may explain why we are seeing a very strong dollar. So well, bond prices, especially the ones that were bought just before COVID, have really gone down. The yields have remained significantly high as a result of the Fed going for higher interest rates. So I'm getting another request here. There's Euro Audi. I may not be able to cover all of them. Audi JPY, I have already covered USDN. With Moody's downgrade, how does the Dow Jones index was really strong yesterday? The Dow Jones index doesn't comprise banks. It has 30 companies majorly in the industrial sector, and the industrial sector is basically showing some form of strength, especially after the strong job numbers that we saw last week. So when you see very high employment rate, it means that industries are operating at a higher capacity, and this tends to benefit the industrials companies. And in this case, we are talking about the companies trading in the Dow Jones. So a Moody downgrade is affecting the banking sector, which is majorly listed in the S&P 500 as well as the NASDAQ indices. USD, Swiss franc, Euro, Audi. All right. So I'll be taking 1 or 2 requests, and once we cover that, then we close the session. Sorry, this should be Euro Audi. The Euro dollar trading against the Australian dollar. So we load the chart. Some of these crosses, I don't normally have the charts already loaded. So we'll start with the higher time frame. This is the 4-hour chart. So remember, the Reserve Bank of Australia refused to hike interest rates. And after that happened, what we are seeing here is the euro being really strong against the Australian dollar. So after we saw the break happening with the Audi USD towards the lower side, Now for Euro AUD, it's breaking towards the upper side, but both of them imply the same thing, that the Euro and the Australian dollar, the Euro and the US dollar are both strengthening against the Australian dollar. So there's also some correlation with gold. So the Australian dollar tends to be positively correlated with gold. So if gold is losing to the dollar, the AUD is also losing to the dollar, since AUD is a major miner and exporter of gold. So this is what we are seeing as a trend line, and this is on the daily chart. And this might be the reality for this particular chart. We could be seeing the market going for this particular trend line if the current momentum continues. And from the lower side, this is what we are seeing here. So, well, we are seeing the break happening right here. It's clear that whenever there is a breakout such as this one, the market may come back for a retest. So what I would do if I were you and I was trading this particular pattern, I would first identify the consolidation that happened before the break. So the consolidation was this particular triangle that lasted 3 days. The highest momentum between the low of the triangle and the high is this. So this is the highest swing. And now from the point of break, this is the maximum that this market is expected to go. So we expect that whenever there's a consolidation followed by a break, then the biggest swing in the consolidation may determine the size of the leg. So there is a good chance you could be seeing the market going for 1.68924. So there was also a request to check on USD against the Swiss franc. Clearly, even though the dollar is pretty strong, the Swiss franc is also having its own play. So in this case, the dollar has been unable to make a new high since last week. And as a result of this, you can see the increased number of rejections happening every time the market gets this trend line. So this is 4 times already. And now I don't expect the US dollar to break this area. So if there's no break, then there's a nice chance that the market may go back for the previous low. So we could be seeing the market hitting this particular trend line and then dropping back to this area. On the contrary, if there's a clean break, then we trade higher to the top of the pattern. And of course, the top of the pattern is basically on the previous high. So this is the target area around 0.88053. So chances are the market will not be able to break this area. So that's it for the day. Thank you very much, guys. Remember, this session is supposed to be 15 to 20 minutes. So I think we took quite some time. It depends. If I don't offer signals, I only offer analysis. So I try to develop a balanced analysis for different kinds of traders. So sometimes I'll be doing analysis for short run, sometimes medium term, and sometimes long term. So thank you very much, guys, and I hope to see you on the next session.